I sing and dance. Oh, I wish it was me every night. When I close my eyes, I see beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too. Later, it comes later, dear, for many of us. I promise you that
Hey, good evening.
Good
and
evening.
Yeah, we are doing yet another live.
Yes.
These are getting to be kind of fun.
Yes, they are.
Think so? Yeah.
Think so.
So tonight's topic is talking about fragile relationships. In
Hmm.
fact, the question that was posed is why are relationships today so fragile? And just to cover the format of this just a little bit,
Hmm.
yeah, of course we want you guys to chime in. If you dial in a little bit late, no worries, no problem. Just go ahead and ask us a question, hopefully on the topic of fragile relationships.
Yes.
But we've also already collected some responses on this question. In fact, this question was posed in social media. And so we collect some of those responses, whether it be in Quora or Facebook, and we present them to you and we talk about them.
Yes, we do.
So, one of the first questions that was asked, or one of the first comments that was asked in response to this question, why are relationships so fragile? Erica says, cell phone, internet, dating sites, social media, streaming videos, there's just too many distractions.
Yes.
Honey, what would you have to say about distractions causing the fragility of relationships?
I mean, the distractions, people are always, when you're having even a sit down dinner and you're, if you both are constantly looking at your cell phones, how are you interacting with each other? Really? Think
Indeed.
about it,
Yeah.
so, and that's a huge distraction. And then, then you're on social media and just you're streaming through and just looking at other pictures stuff instead of focusing on the person. We're kind of old enough to remember when there was time before cell phone.
Yeah, I mean, cell phones and social media, it's a great way to disconnect from things around you
Yes.
and bury yourself in the screen.
Yes.
And while that's okay whenever you're living alone, if you're single, and just trying to fill the time,
Hmm.
but when you're with somebody and you're trying to build that relationship, trying to connect, trying to have some quality time, that's not the right time to binge on something that's just the focus takes your focus away from the person that you're
And you binging
pursuing.
on it, and it's still going to be there if you think about it.
It's still going to be there. It's still going to be there.
Yeah, that's social media for you.
Well,
So
what about other things in social media, such as just the short clips or the what are my friends doing? Friends that, well, quite honestly, sometimes our friends and our acquaintances on Facebook, it's interesting, but if we stay buried in those things, then we're actually not doing other parts of the relationship building process,
that's
right?
true. Like actually getting out and going, for a nice walk with each other, or
Hmm.
or just having a chance just to have just to get to know each other. You're too busy on your phones and stuff. So
The world is really fantastic at showing us options, opportunities,
hmm.
other things that we want to get involved with, and not all of those things are wholesome. But when we start to desire those things just because we saw them in social media, it can weaken what we're looking to do with our relationship. So yeah, that was a good one, Erica.
Yes, it
Good
was.
response. We have another one from Carrie. Because people trigger at absolutely nothing. They tend to be too sensitive, constantly upset for no reason,
Oh,
entitled
entitled.
even.
Ooh.
Ooh, I believe this one came off of Cora. And I had not even heard of Cora. Quora before, but it's actually a pretty nice platform. There's a lot of it's just a different flavor of feedback that you get off of that platform. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, we tend to want what we want, right?
Hmm.
We tend to want things to be perfect. We have this image of what our relationship is going to be, and whenever our partner doesn't live up to that, then we're ready to cast her aside or cast him aside so we can find something that's closer to perfection.
Yeah, but there's no such thing.
You know,
Yes.
there's a phrase that says, um, of course, you've heard the phrase, the grass is always greener on the other side of the road. And sometimes we break off our relationships thinking, hey, there's something better over there. There's something better over there. I'm going to go pursue that because from here, it looks like it's better. It looks like it's greener. And you said this before, honey. It was one of your great quotes in our podcast. You said you can see the green grass, but you don't see what the roots are like.
That's true.
The
Or,
roots could be rotted.
yeah, the roots could be rotted. Grass ain't always greener. And, it could be fake.
Could be turf,
Could be
artificial
turf.
turf. Now, granted, if the roots are rotten, granted the grass probably is not going to be green. But you
Well,
don't know what is festering beneath the surface.
this is true.
Is the point there.
Yes.
And the counter argument is that the grass is always greener where you water
Water
the
it.
lawn. So if you're putting your care and putting your focus into your relationship, then it's always going to be the best thing on earth. Awesome, awesome response to that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, let's see. Another one. Kurt. Kurt says there's a lack of values and commitment. People these days are treating marriage like
Ooh,
it's
it's
just a
a
dating
dating
site,
game.
dating game.
Yeah.
Wow. That's kind of harsh when you think about it, but it's so true. We are very as a society, we are very quick to cast away something that we should be working on. And perhaps it's just we don't know how to work on it at times.
Hmm.
We don't know what we're working for at times. You know, there's two types of marriages, and one of the things that we cover in our coaching, right? There's a merit based marriage, and there's um,
Grace
a
bait.
grace based marriage.
Yes.
And in a merit based marriage, you are only it's like a transaction based. If she makes me feel good, then I'll make her feel good. If she does something for me, I'll do something for her. And it goes back and forth like that, and you're constantly earning each other's love. But we actually believe in a grace-based marriage or grace-based relationship where I love you because of who you are. I love you because of your character, your heart, your soul. And even if on a day that you are not particularly loving to me, that does not affect how much I love you. When we can get to that kind of love,
Yes.
ooh, we have the kind of love that we are taught in our faith to pursue,
Yes.
to have, to show for others.
This is true.
So, I guess one of the keys there, though, is finding someone who has that same value set, who does not look at a relationship or even a marriage as something that is a throwaway item.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I mean, you got to make sure you with the right person, and make sure, like I said, you just said it. I mean, make sure that you both, equally, have are going down the same path. I mean, because if you get with someone that has a merit base and you have a grace base, I mean, you're gonna end up having issues and stuff. So I would definitely say, make sure that you get with,
Yeah,
with someone that has the same values.
it's one of those things that you look for when you start the relationship, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, it's more than just about it's more than just having fun together. I know
I
that,
mean, you want to have fun together,
of
however,
course, yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, we had a lot of fun. We were from our time that we met and got engaged and got married. It was really only about a year.
hmm
And some people will say, "Oh, that's just way too fast. That's way too fast. You should have done a whole lot more." But the thing is, it's not a matter of how much time you spend. It's a matter of what you do with your time.
This is true.
And in that time, we were very intentional about getting to know each other, what our value systems were, um, so many things about who we are relative to what we're looking for and who we are as individuals.
Hmm.
That's how we were able to get to know. Um, that's how we were able to decide that we were making a good decision, and that's really the premise of everything that we encourage you to follow. That we try to teach you guys. So we got another question here that we'll pull up. Here we go. Oh, it's Kurt again. It looks like it's a follow up. Hooking up is so popular. You can have your flavor of the week. It's so easy to throw someone away and get someone new.
Wow.
And,
What is this, dinner? I'm sorry. I just, had to go there. I mean, your flavor, or or is it ice cream, or
so
I
I
mean,
I took this as not Kurt's point of view.
oh,
It
okay,
is his frustration.
okay,
It's whenever he said that when he wrote this, it was he actually wrote a much more than this, but it was in the context of, look, I don't want something that I have to keep recycling. I'm looking for a relationship that I can build on, that we can grow
okay.
together, but the girls that I go out with, they tend to want to throw the relationship away.
Wow, that's.
Yeah. And
Oh, sorry, I had to make a little funny. That was funny.
oh,
Okay.
that's good. That's good. I mean, we're also taught that it's the guys that are cavalier with um, getting intimate too soon.
Hmm.
But quite honestly, there's a lot of women out there who that's what they want.
Hmm.
And if you're a guy looking for something serious and you're dating woman after woman who just wants to do what Kurt is saying here, it gets very frustrating. And sometimes you can be strung along for a while. It can be a relationship that lasts for months. And in many cases, she's the one that presses for intimacy before he does. And he's thinking, wow, I'm in love. This is really going great. And then she decides, you know what? I'm done. I changed my mind. I really don't want this. And it could be for any number of reasons. But he's left feeling, well, she was just ready to move on to the next flavor.
Wow.
That's not always the case, but it's definitely the feeling that comes across, and it goes both ways.
Yes, it does.
So you got another question, another response here, and this one's from Janice. Now, Janice says, because a relationship requires work. Why are relationships so fragile these days?
Yeah. Why are they?
Because a relationship requires work. And people either don't know that or they are not willing to do the work.
I mean, you have to do the work in the relationship. I mean, how are you going to make a relationship work with each other if you don't do the work? You have to invest in each other.
You know, your relationship can be the most amazing product that you've ever produced
Yes.
because it can go on producing even more.
Mhm.
Man and wife, offspring, beautiful family, contributing to the kingdom as it's continuing to grow.
Yes.
Oh, wow. But yeah, you're right. You can't do that if you're just willing to bail
Mhm. And
um,
not work at it.
and not work at it.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing when you're in a relationship, you're not in covenant yet. And it's very important to realize the difference.
Yeah.
Am I in covenant? That means am I committed at a spiritual, soulful, God honoring level to make this work? If I am, there's like one or two things that God will recognize a separation, a breakup.
Yeah.
But if you're dating, if you're in a relationship, one of the things that you're looking for is whether or not the person that you're dating has some stick to itness.
Yes.
Are they going to bail when things get rough, or
Are they
are
going to
they
stay
going to
with you?
stay and work through
Things
things with you?
exactly.
One of the things that we were encouraged is to summer and winter together.
Oh yes,
In,
most definitely.
in fact, when we do premarital counseling, we also encourage that. Have
Yeah.
you two summered and wintered together? What does that mean, honey?
I mean, you summer and winter together. That way, you are getting to know each other and everything about each other's characteristics. How you like certain things. It is most definitely the best time to get to really and truly know each other. So that way, you can move forward. In your relationship and stuff. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Hey, we had someone join us, Sierra. Sierra says, "Hi, sis." I think she's
Hey,
talking to you.
sis, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Wow. So we had another response come through, and I think I'm going to show it.
There it
Here
is.
we go.
Oh, it's from Janice.
Why are relationships so fragile? Oh, this is one we just saw
Okay.
because they require work. I guess one more comment on that though. Um, as you're looking for someone who wants to make things work, who wants to make a relationship work, you also have to understand and discern what you're working for.
Mhm.
I mean, just because you have someone who's willing to make a relationship work no matter what, it
Exactly.
doesn't mean that that's the person that you're supposed to be with. That's one of the great qualities to look for, but there are definitely other things. So as you decide to hunker down and work on this together as a
Mhm.
relationship, as a dating couple, make sure that that is the person that you want to stay
Stay
with.
with. Yeah.
Because when you do make that commitment, when you do step into covenant, that should be a lifelong commitment.
Oh yes.
So,
Totally different.
so
Yeah.
consider that along with everything else, and we can help you with that.
Yes, we can.
Let's see. What is the next comment? Why are relationships so fragile these days? Well, Stephanie says, because people get too comfortable too fast.
Wow.
What does that mean, honey?
You get in the relationship with someone and you do. You get very comfortable. And when you get comfortable with that person, you just forget all about red flags and
Hmm.
all kind of different things that you definitely need to pay close attention to because you don't want to be in a relationship with that person and got all kind of flags just popping up everywhere,
Hmm.
and then next thing then you get in covenant with that person that's the that you have the red flags with, and then it's not as easy as you think to get out of a relationship.
Hmm.
So definitely make sure that you are paying attention and
And
don't get too comfortable too fast.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think another thing she might have been referring to is someone's level of effort
Okay.
at the very beginning of the relationship. And he's bringing her flowers and taking
Oh.
her out and whining and dining her, and he's putting in all this effort. Is wow, it's like every date is amazing.
Mhm.
But you know what? After he gets comfortable, and I'm using he because I'm a guy, so I'm just going to tell it from a guy's perspective.
Okay.
But the reality is, I mean, women get comfortable too, right?
Mhm.
And so as the relationship grows and builds, and the two of you kind of settle into the groove, uh, where do you want to go? I don't know. Let's just go grab some fast food. It's no more whining and dining, and it's no more making that effort. Not at least not as much. And so whew, whenever that happens, that feeling of attention that wow, he really loves me or she really loves me, that starts to dissipate. The love is probably even deeper at that point,
Yeah.
but the feeling of love has kind of gone away.
Yeah, but that is a definitely that's a no no. Especially I think on my part, I think when should never stop dating each other. You should continue to in the beginning if the person bought you flowers and cards and nice, even this is the smallest things. You never stop dating each other. And it goes back vice versa even for if most time a woman when she's, dating her ideal mate. She basically, we might not give flowers and stuff and candy, so because that's kind of a, guy thing that does for a girl. But she fixed him a nice dinner. Don't just, not. Don't forget to not to fix him a nice T-bone steak every now and then, and
Ooh, can I
So
fix you a steak?
no, I'm a vegetarian. You know that. But I can fix you a steak.
Oh, all
So
right.
yeah,
I'll get two of them. We want flesh, so
you gonna eat both?
yeah. Well, maybe
No.
not the same meal, but I'll have yours for you. You
Okay.
can still enjoy it.
Okay. So funny.
But you know what? There is actually a physiological reason why people get too comfortable too fast,
Hmm.
and that is there are chemicals in the brain that are induced
Oh yeah.
whenever you get into a new relationship. At a layman's level, they call it that new relationship high. But really, it's endorphins and dopamine that kind of floods the brain. These chemicals,
Hmm.
they put you literally on a high whenever you get that one more text message, or whenever you get that phone call, or whenever she says yes to going out. Um, these are things that happen at the very beginning of the relationship, and they affect your behavior. Now, those things actually will fade with time. You do come off the high of love within anywhere from 6 months to 2 years.
Yeah.
Um, Other people will call it infatuation, limerence. But that effect of having that new relationship feeling,
Ooh, those rose-colored glasses.
ooh, whenever that dissipates,
Yeah.
then it changes again. It changes your behavior to the point that you're not acting like you did before, and that feeling of love isn't doesn't seem to be as strong.
Hmm.
There's a difference between the feeling of love and real love.
Yes.
Because the feeling of love can be fleeting, it can go away, but if you truly love someone deep down for the character and the beautiful person that they are,
Hmm.
that's what's sticking around for. That is what's worth sticking around for. And if people don't get to that level, if people don't realize it, then yes, the relationship is fragile, it breaks off, and then you're likely on to another fragile relationship.
Wow.
Wow. So, what's the next comment, honey? From Pamela?
So this is what Pamela said. Most people prefer just being close, either in a relationship or relationship requires so much maintain.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So they don't really want connection; they just want companionship.
Yeah.
That's what I read in this.
Yeah.
I want someone to go to a movie with. I want someone that I can go to parties with. I want someone that I can hang out with. But they don't really get to the point of getting to the deep, soulful things of life. And whenever you don't get deep, these shallow relationships are inherently fragile
So
because you haven't dug any roots
so
with
I
each
feel
other.
like, from what I can get from what I'm getting from this question is basically they are wanting they do not want a long term relationship with
Mm,
anyone. They just basically wants a relationship, like you said, just a companion to, just to be around
hmm
every now and then. They don't want to be, tied down to the long term of of a,
just being
yeah,
close
just being close
rather than in a relationship.
relationship. Yeah.
You know what else this could mean?
What else?
It could mean that P word that we don't like,
The P word?
polyamory.
Oh, well.
Yeah, whenever two people are close, they can be intimate
Hmm.
in any manner of the word that you mean. Um, but if I'm not in a relationship, it kind of goes back to what I think Kurt was saying before. I can have my flavor of the week. So I can be intimate with somebody this week, and I'm close. I get that feeling of closeness, but then I can be with someone else next week and kind of rejuvenate that feeling of closeness. It kind of goes back to what we were saying
Yeah.
about that new relationship energy. If you keep going from relationship or from person to person, you can keep triggering and firing that chemical that feels like a drug. You get high on it, and so that's what you stick to.
Yeah, and a lot of people are addicted to that, though.
Yes, they do. They get
Yeah.
addicted to that.
Yeah.
and they never get to the real substance of love in a relationship.
This is true.
Wow. So we had another comment here. This one from Tomas. Why are relationships these days so fragile? He says everybody wants things their way and are not willing to compromise. If you don't do something, then I'll find someone else who will.
Mm,
Wow.
wow.
I think about this, and
So hold on
what
before you go into your thought.
what?
So you're saying, well, what Thomas is saying. So if if the person does not cook something for them, they'll just find somebody else that will cook something for them. Like, I'm not the hugest person that will, fried chicken.
Mm.
I don't even touch the stuff. So, however, that would be the definite thing in beginning of a relationship. I'm not frying you chicken because I don't touch it. First of all, again, I'm a
Oh,
vegetarian.
right.
However, but
Yeah.
then you're gonna find somebody else.
Chicken. Mm-mm. Her and
No,
Roger. No. Mm-mm.
I don't know.
Not even in the same kitchen.
There you go.
Mm-mm.
So you're gonna find somebody else that can fry you some chicken.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh,
Really?
you weren't suggesting that. That was.
No,
Oh, okay. Just
no.
making sure.
You know how to fry your own chicken. I cook everything else for you.
Kind of can't remember the last time I had fried chicken.
I know it's not the greatest for you anyway, so we
Well,
ain't got to
there
worry
is
about
that.
it.
There is that.
But hey, okay, sorry. Back to the question.
Yeah, relationships are about compromise.
Yes, they
It's
are.
it's about working together, collaborating.
Yeah.
Oh wow! If we were with somebody that we never had to compromise with,
Mhm.
you'd be dating yourself.
Ooh, and
I don't want to do that.
yeah.
I don't want
How's
to
that gonna
date.
work out?
I don't want to date him. Mm-mm. I don't know how she puts up with me. I know I wouldn't put up with
Grace.
me.
It's Grace.
But the reality is, you're always going to have compromise. You have to have compromise in a relationship. And if you're not willing to, then you kind of need to soul search in yourself to see, are you ready for a relationship?
Yeah,
Do you keep asking for something that you're not quite ready for?
this is true.
Now, people typically say when they're by themselves, yeah, of course I'm willing to compromise.
Hmm.
And there might be things that they are willing to compromise on. Was it what? A quote that I once heard: "I'm willing to compromise anything but my desires."
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, whenever you look at what you're compromising, you don't compromise just for the sake of compromising. It is a collaboration. If if I understand that raw chicken really wigs her out, then I can compromise and say we don't need to have chicken.
Yes.
But if she says, if it was the flip side, and this is just weird, right? But we're on the subject of chicken. If she realizes, hey, Rob is on this special diet where he has to have chicken, and someone has to cook it for him because he's somehow debilitated. I know it's a weird example, but if my needs are that I need something, if I really need something, and she's just wigged out by it,
We will hire somebody to fix you some chicken. Yes, we will.
then we would compromise, we would collaborate, we would realize that, okay, maybe she needs to put that preference of staying away from it aside to serve her husband. But if that's not a need of mine,
Hmm.
then maybe I'm the one that has to put my desires aside to recognize what she gets wigged out about.
I appreciate it.
So yeah, it's not just blind collaborate. It's not just blind compromise.
Hmm.
It's a matter of working with your partner to come up with a solution that makes sense for the two of you together. Hopefully that makes sense.
It makes sense,
All right.
complete sense.
Well, then we had Daniel, and Daniel said, "Everyone is trying to keep their options open. Perhaps they'll find a new supply for the attention that they seek." A new supply for in other words, if they're not getting enough attention from one person, then someone else will give them more attention. And it kind of goes back to what we were saying about getting too comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you're at the very beginning of the relationship, you give each other so much attention.
Yes,
And
you
when
do.
that starts to fade and you're addicted to that attention, then so I might go to the next person to start that cycle over again.
And again, you can't do that.
No, no.
That's not good.
You never
You know,
build anything of substance that way.
no.
It ends up being a very shallow existence.
And again, that's when you need to look at, oh, so is it something, just to be honest, more mental? Am I addicted to that feeling of needing to be in a new relationship?
Right. I'll give you an example. It's personal. And actually, I'm not even sure that I shared this with you, honey. So I'm getting really raw here in
Oh,
this.
what? Something you didn't
Yeah.
share?
Um, well, in my first year after the divorce, I wasn't like going on a crazy amount of dates, but it wasn't a year devoid of dating.
Okay.
There might have been, I don't know, a half dozen women that I was interested in just spending some time with.
Hmm.
They weren't girlfriends; they're just dates. Um, and then it got to the end of the year, and my kids were spending Christmas with their mom. I wasn't traveling back home for Christmas, and it was the very first Christmas morning in my life where I woke up to an empty home.
Been there.
And I said to myself, these dates were fun, but right now I feel so unfulfilled.
Yeah.
I feel like nobody cares. Everybody else has somewhere where they'd rather be other than with me.
I spent my Christmas morning similar to that with no family, nobody around, doing at the time I think I was looking for another job, so I was filling out a half a dozen of resumes, just sending them out. Who does that on Christmas morning? And again, the first time in life, ever not having the chance to be around no family. It was, yeah, I know how you feel. It was I don't want to ever have that feeling again, so because family is important
Yeah,
to me. So, and I know family is important to you.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it was really that experience that made me decide I'm not going to be like these throwaway relationships that
yeah,
we're talking about.
yeah.
I'm not going to be a proponent of fragile relationships
Relationships, yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
Um, Not just because I changed my heart doesn't mean that the women that I pursued after that had a
Change
changed
of
heart
heart.
as well.
Yeah.
So it became very important for me to discern, where are you? What are you thinking? What do you want?
Hmm.
You may be the coolest girl that I ever talked to, but if your mindset is not supportive of a long term relationship or a stable marriage, then I got to keep looking. And even though I did keep looking, I did not find that woman. She found me.
Oh, here we go.
Now I'm not gonna go into that story right now. You have to stay tuned. Stay tuned, and
Yeah.
in another context, we will share that with you.
Just a simple hello.
Just a simple hello. Let's see. So we have what Daniel said. Oh, I got a comment here from Troy. Why are relationships so fragile
The,
these days?
so the world wants instant gratification. And if something doesn't work, replace
Oh,
it. No one is willing to work on it.
that's a recurring theme here, right?
It is. We just talked about this a little bit earlier.
I think there are about at least three people in here,
Hmm.
including Troy, that said, look, people just don't want to work on their relationships. That's not a relationship.
No.
It really isn't. But instant gratification. Wow. I guess that might also be why hookups are so popular these days.
Yeah.
Um, Forget about all the hard work that you have to do. Forget about everything that you have to, all the dues that you need to put in to be sure that they're the right person. Because you know what? You're going to move on to someone else different the next day
Yeah.
anyway. But there's this thing called soul ties.
Oh, and that is another whole topic
Yeah.
within itself.
See, aside from the concerns about STDs,
Hmm.
there is pulling every person that you share your bed with. You actually bring part of them with you going into your next relationships,
Yeah,
and it's actually a very serious thing.
it
It's
is.
something that can really bog you down. In fact, soul ties themselves can tear apart a new relationship in the future for you
Yes, it
if you
can.
have not dealt with it the right
And if you're
way.
not severed it and just, I mean, let go of it. Like, completely let go of it.
Yeah,
Have a burning, uh, what is it? Ritual of stuff someone might have given to you. Just let go. Just let go of that person.
yeah. I think we
Yeah.
teach a whole module
Oh
on
gosh, we do.
severing love ties
Yes.
in our course. But yeah, every time you have one of these hookups,
Yeah.
it might seem great for the moment. It probably doesn't feel great the morning after. When you get to these holiday seasons and there's nobody around, they definitely don't feel like they were worth it.
Yeah.
And then whenever you do get into that solid relationship that you want to make to work,
Mhm.
it's still going to be there plaguing you,
Oh my
haunting
gosh.
you,
Yes.
and you will need to deal with it.
Yes.
Indeed. We had, oh,
Oh, wait a minute. Before we go into the next question, we
no,
had want to say, hey,
hey,
hey, Brittany.
well, hey there, Brittany. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks
Thank.
for joining us.
Yes. Thank you for joining us.
And actually, this next comment is the last one that we had come in from social media.
Mhm.
Um, I'll let you go ahead and read it, honey, because I think it's dear to both of us. But I think you'll like this one.
Okay, so why are relationships so fragile these days? And this is coming from Paula. And Paula said because they don't want to put, oh, yeah, Christ in the center. Wow, yes. Um,
You surprised me. I thought we were going to get the church hand out of that. They were, woo!
oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, you have to, in your relationships, you have to put Christ in the center. If you don't, stuff is just going, wow, yeah, you're right. What is your relationship? What, you know, just what do you do in your relationship without him putting them in the center of it?
You know, as a couple approaches their wedding,
Hmm.
sometimes they're encouraged to bring in the ceremony of the three-stranded cord.
Oh, yes. And that's what we did in ours.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't have to wait for the wedding to intertwine your relationship around Christ,
No, you don't. At the wedding, you are just
symbolizing.
symbolizing it.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is what we have already done, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why we're here, because we have put Christ in the center and wrapped ourselves around Him. But whenever you start out with that in mind, before you're in covenant, it's not a commitment to stay together. It's a commitment to follow Him and
Yes.
keep your relationship, keep Him in mind with all the decisions that you make in your relationship.
Let's tell them a little story about us.
Okay.
You
Go
remember?
ahead,
Okay.
because you
So,
surprised me right now. So go ahead.
with our relationship, you remember when we did our cover, we actually did our first one. It was just you, and it
Mhm.
was me, and it was God. So we definitely put him in the center. And this was we did that on our anniversary of when we met. Remember that?
Okay, sure, why not?
Yes. Okay. So for the beginning, even before we did, even before we had got married, and before everyone, we had already had put Christ in the center
Yes, we
of our
did.
relationship.
And that guided the decisions that we made.
Yes, it
And there are
did.
certain things certain decisions that a couple will make
Yes,
before and after they marry.
yes,
And oftentimes, those decisions will be made just with what we want in our hearts. And if we think with our hearts, we often make the wrong decision.
mhm,
But if we understand, what am I supposed to do? What is God expecting me to do in this relationship? As a guy, as a man, how is God expecting me to respect his daughter? You know, Winona grew up without
Either
her
parents.
biological father.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't go to her biological father to get his blessing. And the day that I proposed, she saw me go to the front of the church afterwards, and I knelt down at the altar, and she's like, "What is he doing?
Yes,
He
I
never."
did.
But the thing is, I was asking her father for his blessing, um, and understanding that you've got to make your decisions based on what he would have you do.
Yeah.
Um, wow, I'm gonna that's given me some inspiration on what to talk about in a couple of weeks here, as I give another talk. But but yeah, as you make those decisions in your life, sometimes we bring Christ in and we say, "All right, Christ, cool to talk with you and everything, but whenever I'm ready to pursue something, I'm gonna go off and I'm gonna come back to you."
Yeah, that's definitely what you don't want to do.
But what we should do
Yes,
is
yeah.
turn to Him and ask, "Lord, should I be pursuing this? How should I be pursuing this? Are you pursuing this for me? And I just need to sit back and let you do your work."
Yeah.
That's difficult to do because we are so driven. In fact, we are taught to be driven.
Yeah.
If you want something, you go after it. It might be the job, it might be the education, it might be the girl, it might be that relationship. And you're just driven to go, 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 and do what you need to do to get there. But do we stop and ask, should I? And I'm talking to the ladies here,
Yeah.
as you fell in love with this man, he's treated you right, he's done the right things, he makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Have you asked God, should I be with this man? Have you listened for his voice? Have you
Yeah.
learned how to discern his voice in your life?
Most definitely. That is a must.
So again, these are things that we coach very deeply on,
Yeah.
and we'd love to do that for you as well. I know she wasn't even. She gave me the time of day, but she really did not give me serious consideration until she got that word.
Oh, yeah, that was a must for me.
Yeah.
Have
Well,
been through way too many things in life,
yeah.
and and just to being honest and transparent, and not putting God first. I said this time in my life when I was going to pursue, was going to get close to anybody else, God had to be in the center of everything.
Indeed.
God had to be and still is in the center of all decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And will continue to be that way until I'm not here anymore. So that's just being transparent, truthful, and honest. That's the way you should live your life.
Amen to that.
Amen.
Well, guys, we did talk a lot about fragile relationships these days
Hmm.
in this video. We talked about why things are fragile.
Yeah.
We actually have not gotten to how to avoid fragile relationships except for this last piece, and that was to keep Christ in the center.
Hmm.
Wow, if you can do that, then not only will you know if the person that you're pursuing is someone that you should pursue, but you'll also be able to make the right decisions as you're in relationship with that person
Hmm.
to keep things solid, steady, and moving forward. So, to avoid shallow relationships, create a relationship with our Father.
Yes.
If you'd like to get on the line with us, talk with us one on one, hit that link in the bottom. It says, call.myidealmatch.com. And if you're dating and having some issues right now, running into anything, whether it be
Anything. Yeah.
fragile relationships or other things that are just really frustrating you, get on the phone with us. We'll help you through it.
We sure will.
But in the meantime, we want to say good night and have an awesome, awesome weekend.
Yes.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
Know it, it. So I trust you when you say that beauty